Can you tell me 3 memories you have scrolling through social media? Probably not, because I know I can't give you any at all. Unless you're making money, making content, or building a real community, you probably can't tell me a real memorable memory you have on there. That's because you were never truly present on social media. And to cut to the chase, that's the real reason to delete social media, is to be more present in the moment. Because when we are scrolling on social media, we are mindless or unconsciously scrolling and consuming. Now, you have probably heard the term mindless scrolling, but what does that actually mean? Mindless scrolling refers to the habit of continuously scrolling through a social media platform with no specific goal or purpose in mind. This scrolling is automatic, and since there is no other choice to be made other than to swipe to the next video, our minds tend to subconsciously just spend hours on social media scrolling to the next video. And to put it in perspective, the average person will probably spend years of their life just scrolling through social media. Mindless scrolling implies that people are not actively thinking about or processing the content during the scrolling, and the activity may become automatic or habitual, almost as if we are being brainwashed to continue to scroll, losing out on being present in the moment. When it comes to my social media usage, I didn't even have a phone. I had an iPod Touch when I started. I want to say I was about 10. I don't ever remember even scrolling on Instagram. I just remember posting pictures of me eating pizza, skating, pictures of random things like birds, animals, just things I saw while being outside. I remember that being my social media presence at the time. I don't ever remember spending hours on my phone or iPod Touch scrolling for hours, because at the time that wasn't ever really a concept or an issue. And you probably have a similar experience. Social media was never this thing we took seriously. It was just something we had fun with. Social media was different back then. These apps weren't yet optimized to keep us on there for hours on end. They were created with a different vision than they have now, and that vision was to share and capture the world's moments. And I think they did succeed with that vision for a couple years. Social media used to be great. We got to see what our friends and family were doing at any given moment through photos and videos. We also got to share what we were doing at any given moment as well. But now that original vision is fading. The original vision for social media is now fading, and the vision for social media now is to keep users on these apps as long as possible to profit as much as possible. This is the reason we started to see these apps change. We started seeing personalized explore pages, endless feeds, and algorithmic feeds. Social media companies started researching the most eye-catching colors and addictive designs for their apps. And recently, I have noticed that we as the creators have started to do this as well. Creators are starting to make the videos as addictive and eye-catching as possible by using quick and snappy editing, subtitles, and fast-paced videos. Now, many of us can't even watch a video without subtitles or GTA playing in the background. Despite all of this, there has still been many people taking a step back from social media, and I think it's amazing. It has been great seeing people talk about the benefits of deleting social media. Even with entire billion-dollar companies with researchers, computer scientists, and psychologists trying to keep us addicted to these apps, there are many of us taking a step back. My recent social media usage has been inconsistent. I used social media in high school for the first 2 years, but I never really posted anything on it. But I was scrolling for hours on end. And those 2 years in 2018 and 2019, I'm pretty sure that's when I had TikTok. And that's when TikTok was first gaining traction. And I was on there for a good 5-6 hours a day, I want to say. And even back then, I started to realize how much time I was spending on social media, which is why I ended up deleting TikTok. I think back in early 2020, I ended up deleting it, and I never looked back on TikTok. And for those first 2 years, I never really posted anything. And when COVID happened, I didn't really have it at all. But in 2021 and 2022, I started posting on it pretty often. One of the reasons being just to make more friends, and not to say I don't have an Instagram when people ask me for my Instagram. Kind of like I felt like I was missing out at times. I just wanted to connect to people more and see what was going on in terms of social events and things like that. While that did help a bit, I feel like most of the people I connected with, I didn't really care for or didn't really have a real reason to talk to them. Most of the people I exchanged Instagrams with, we never really talked or hung out ever again. They simply added to my feed, which added to my fear of missing out. But for 2023, I was mostly off social media. I would activate it here and there, but then after a week or two, I would deactivate it. But for the most part, I was off of it. And this year, I want to completely be off of it. I don't want to reactivate and deactivate it. after a week or two. I just want to completely be off of it. The main reason I want to do this is to be more present in the moment. I think all the benefits from being away from social media all boil down to being more present in the moment and having more present moment awareness. For example, having more self-confidence. Because deleting social media gets rid of a lot of social comparison, people tend to think less about others and be more confident. Not only that, but it gets rid of a lot of external validation that many of us look for. Seeing the likes and comments for your new post might feel good for a few hours, but it's gonna leave you wanting more. Losing that need for external validation tends to make people more confident. Deleting social media usually gives us more time. Many of us use scrolling on TikTok and Instagram as an escape from reality. So not scrolling through social media tends to give us a bunch of time. Time to work on our goals, our purpose, spending time with friends and family, working out, and overall not having to escape from our life and being present in our reality. As mentioned before, the fear of missing out is a big phenomenon correlated with social media. This is actually one I struggled with a lot. Not constantly watching other people's story to see what party, social event, or what dinner you weren't invited to helps with this feeling a lot. It also makes you realize that you don't need to go to every social gathering or night out. Not everything is as fun as it seems online. This encourages you and makes you engage in social gatherings and activities you actually want to do, rather than partake in them because you fear on missing out. Overall, focusing on yourself and the present moment instead of what other people are doing. And there are many more benefits out there. But all these pretty much boil down to being more present in the moment, and that is the real reason to delete social media.